On this episode of Nature in Your Face, I travel back to Singapore and attempt the difficult task of trying to find all 7 of Singapore's venomous snake species.
Nature in your face!
Of all the venomous snake species found in Singapore, the Wagglers Pit Viper is arguably the most beautiful and definitely the least difficult to find. They're common in both primary and secondary rainforest habitat, so it was no surprise that this was the first of the 7 venomous snake species that I would cross off my list. Mature females are strikingly patterned with irregular black and gold bands and only look similar to the males as juveniles, both being green with small red and white spots along the body. The males retain this green coloration throughout their lives, unlike the females that gradually develop their adult pattern as they age. I found them to be mild-mannered and reluctant to strike and less provoked. They possess the weakest venom of Singapore's venomous snakes, but because of their camouflage, I still had to be cautious when walking through thick forest. A bite to the face would not be a pleasant experience. These arboreal snakes rarely venture to the ground, often remaining coiled on the same tree branch for days or even weeks at a time, where they wait patiently for unsuspecting prey to wander within striking distance. The next venomous snake on my list that I managed to locate is the only other pit viper native to Singapore, the Mangrove Pit Viper. Their red eyes and dark scales give them a menacing appearance, and although they do possess a much more potent venom compared to the Wagglers Pit Viper, I don't consider them to be particularly dangerous, as they live among the mangrove roots where human and snake interactions are unlikely to occur. These snakes are active mainly at night and remain hidden in low branches or coiled on the mangrove roots just above the water during the day. They're noticeably more defensive, and this snake would not hesitate to strike if I were to get close. I found several adults as well as juveniles and even a few newborns that were only about the size of a pencil. I consider the Mangrove Pit Viper to be Singapore's second easiest venomous snake species to find, and now that the easy part of my goal was accomplished, it was time to try and find the more difficult species to encounter. The third venomous snake that I found might just be the most iconic snake species on the planet, a snake that I've dreamed about finding in the wild since I was a kid, the king cobra. This snake has a venom powerful enough to take down a 12,000-pound elephant and is considered to be one of the top 10 most dangerous snakes in the world. I closely followed the snake as it hunted for prey and found it to be shy and more curious than defensive, only rearing up and spreading its hood when I unintentionally startled it. They're often regarded to be the most intelligent of all snakes, and they're one of the few snakes to exhibit at least some degree of parental care, guarding their nest of eggs until they hatch and defending them from predators at all cost. If there was only one venomous snake that I was going to find on my trip, I would have been happy only to find a king cobra, and I'll never forget this incredible experience. Finding the 4th venomous snake on the list required that I travel to a small island off Singapore's coast. That's where my friend Neil spotted one of the most difficult snakes to track down, the banded krait. We were beyond fortunate to come across this species, one that is reportedly seen only a few times a year by the locals. A bite can lead to death in minutes, but because it's known to be one of the least offensive venomous snakes, the danger it poses to people is greatly exaggerated. Singapore's only other cobra species and the 5th venomous snake that I was able to find caught me by surprise, the equatorial spitting cobra. Sometimes you just get lucky, and as I was walking along a path shortly before dusk, I spotted this snake tongue-flicking and actively searching for prey. Not only can it bite, it can accurately spit venom as far as 10 feet into the eyes of an attacker. This was an old male. It had multiple scars on its body and was missing an eye, proof of the resiliency of this species. I only had 48 hours left to find the final 2 venomous snakes in Singapore, and after searching well into the night, a group of herpers that we were hanging out with spotted what might be the most difficult venomous snake to locate in Singapore, the Malayan banded coral snake. This was likely the first and last time I would ever have an opportunity to film and photograph this snake, and it was the only time in 5 herping expeditions to the country that I'd ever seen one. This small but deadly snake is a relative of the cobras, kraits, and mambas, and possesses a mixture of cetotoxic and neurotoxic venom to overpower prey and to defend itself from predators. The snake behaved in much the same way as the coral snakes of the Americas, twitching and arching its body and making spasmodic movements. It also raised its lower body and tail, flashing the contrasting black and white bands, advertising that it was not to be messed with. I now only had one more venomous snake to find to complete my goal of locating all 7 of Singapore's venomous snakes. Not an easy feat considering the secretive nature and rarity of several of the species, as well as the limited amount of days I had to accomplish my goal. Time was running out, and it was time to try and find the blue coral snake. I dedicated every last minute of the remaining time I had left to try to find a blue coral snake. I even went to 3 different nature preserves where most sightings occur, and after hiking for a few hours, I saw a snake in the leaf litter, a snake I was certain was a blue coral snake. After getting a closer look, I realized it was a blue coral snake mimic, known as a pink-headed reed snake. This harmless colubrid closely resembles its venomous counterpart, so much so that for a few seconds, even I was fooled. I guess I can say I found 6.5 of Singapore's venomous snakes, and although I fell just short of my intended goal, I had no reason to be disappointed. I had an epic trip, and it gave me an excuse to come back someday to try to finish what I started. Hey nature freaks, if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor. Subscribe to our channel, maybe just like the video or make a comment. It goes a long way in allowing us to travel to these places and make cool videos. Thanks, and we'll see you guys on the next episode of Nature in Your Face.